You know, Dana and I have talked several times about having speakers come in to talk about various things, healthy lifestyles, et cetera. So I've been experiencing, since January, I've been involved in this group called Absolution CrossFit, soccer strength training. And you know, every time I go, I learn something new. And one of the guys who's been teaching me is Dr. Hector Davila. He's a pharmacist, Primal Health coach, and owner of Absolution CrossFit and Strength Academy. It's in LaGrange. If anybody would like to join me tomorrow at 7 a.m., please come along. He earned his doctorate of pharmacy from University of Illinois at Chicago College of Pharmacy in 2005. Earned a CrossFit Level 1 certificate in 2014 and Primal Health Coach certification in 2017. And he and his partner Brad have a really nice saying that they taught me when I first started there. They said they have an extremely high tolerance for your pain. So, and they've proven it. So, Dr. Davila practiced in community pharmacy until June of 2017 when he decided to dedicate his full efforts to improving quality of life through lifestyle education and practices rather than pharmaceutical intervention. And I think Hector will talk a little bit about that. We've talked about it during classes. In 2014, the opening of Absolution CrossFit was made possible through strategic business partnerships. Witnessing the positive impact on the members' lives made it clear that this was the direction Dr. Davila's career was headed. Currently, Dr. Davila works directly with clients to provide education on ancestral health and fitness practices to optimize wellness outcomes through individualized primal health coaching, CrossFit, and personal training offerings at the LaGrange facility. Dr. Davila.
All right, good morning, everybody. First, I'd like to start off by thanking Eric for this opportunity. So like he just mentioned, I've recently stepped away from pharmacy. It was actually in June that I decided that I was not going to work in pharmacy anymore. And it was just a culmination of, over time, seeing patients that I work with just not getting better. And I felt like I was just putting a Band-Aid on problems that we have in our healthcare system and just in people's lives in general. And I've worked with so many people doing what they thought was best, doing all the things that they were told to do, and just not getting better. They were seeking a healthy lifestyle. They were doing the best that they thought they could, and just spinning wheels, and things were just getting worse. So over time, watching all this, I just decided I couldn't bear to watch that anymore. So I took the leap. I had originally opened up my CrossFit facility just because I love CrossFit. I like physical training. I like just being a recreational athlete. But then it sort of just grew as I started to get more and more contact with my members and seeing that they actually had these improvements in their lifestyle. So I went into pharmacy not knowing anything about pharmacy. And if you ask the average person, you know, hey, what's the pharmacist doing back there in the pharmacy? Most people don't know. They're just like, hey, what's taking so long? You know, all you have to do is pick that box off the shelf and hand it over to me, right? So yeah, just a culmination of factors over. I was in pharmacy for 17 years. I began working in pharmacy when I found out that I was accepted into pharmacy school. So there was about 5 years there before I actually got my doctorate. And then when I got my doctorate, I immediately started practicing. I became a pharmacy manager. I was working with Walgreens for a long time. Really good company, just isn't the place that I thought that I could do my best for people. So again, thank you, Eric, for this opportunity. I'm trying to get myself out in front of people to give them the information that I have, and that's actually what I'm really passionate about now. All right, so with all that in mind, as I'm going through this presentation, feel free to stop me if you have questions. I feel like a lot of the information that I have to share with people is kind of stuff that is contrary to what they have known or learned over time. So that is, again, like I said, I've talked to thousands of patients over my career. Hey, I'm eating healthy and I'm doing this and that. And I'm like, okay, well, let's talk about what you're doing. And no, it's actually not the best thing or not even close to the best thing. All right, so here we go. So let's talk about what the Primal Blueprint is. It's a book. It was written by author Mark Sisson. He's He's this dude who has catapulted sort of ancestral health into the spotlight along with other people like Rob Wolf with the Paleo solution and Lauren Cordain before Rob Wolf. So there are a bunch of people that have sort of jumped into this, thrown their head into the arena, trying to spread this type of information. And he's just one of the guys that has made it the most successful. So I have been certified as a Primal Health Coach, which is a program that is through his company. And simply put, the Primal Blueprint is a set of simple instructions that allows you to control how your genes express themselves in order to build the strongest, leanest, healthiest body possible, taking clues from evolutionary biology, and that's the primal part. Okay? So we got this evolutionary health plan. So we're looking at our history and taking clues from our history as to how we can be the healthiest individuals as humans possible. So we have 8 key concepts in the Primal Blueprint. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this slide, kind of just laying down some base knowledge, and then we're going to go through the 10 Primal Blueprint laws. So the first one is, yes, you can really reprogram your genes. So I've also spoken to a lot of people throughout my career as far as, you know, one person comes into mind very, very recently. She came into my gym. She's like, my whole family has diabetes, and I just don't want to have it. And I had a conversation with her right there. I'm like, look, type 2 diabetes is a disease of diet. All right, so just because, you know, all of your family has this doesn't mean that you have to have it. And I'm going to show you how. And she's done an awesome job of soaking up all of the information that I've thrown her way. She's been reading books. She's been showing up to the gym all the time. She's lost like 30 pounds so far, and she's totally hyped up about it. So yes, you can reprogram your genes just because, you know, you have high blood pressure, you have high cholesterol, diabetes, whatever else, something that you may be prone to from your familial history doesn't necessarily mean that you are sort of condemned to that fate. You can control a lot of extrinsic factors that make your environment and how your genes are going to express themselves over time. So the second one, clues to optimal gene expression are found in evolution. So just like I mentioned, we're looking at human history and seeing kind of which populations have thrived, which ones have not done so well, and taking clues from there to help build your plan for your health. Number 3 is your body prefers fat as a fuel. In the standard American diet, most people are sugar burners, as we call them. They're carbohydrate dependent, and these are the people that you hear about getting hangry. They need to eat every few hours, and it's because their metabolism is sort of primed to burn sugars. And sugars, I'm sure probably everybody knows, fat on a per gram basis has more calories than sugar. So because of the speed with which we burn sugar and because of the lower caloric value, your energy levels from that are going to be a lot shorter. The other thing is that when you are a sugar burner, your carbohydrate is giving your signal to your body to release insulin, which is a storage hormone. So you're constantly telling your body to go into storage, which does not allow you to use fat for energy. All right, so those are 2 competing energy systems, and if you're in one, you really can't be in the other. So yes, you do prefer to burn fat, but you do have to build up your basically your cellular components to upregulate your mitochondria to get you to that point so that you can burn fat and not have this sugar roller coaster going on. All right, number 4, 80% of your body composition success is determined by how you eat. So that's going to tie into number 7, which is exercise is ineffective for weight management. What you're putting in your mouth is really going to dictate what your body composition is going to be like. So you can go to the gym, you can be there every day, you can be doing 2 hours of work, but if you're not fixing what you're eating, you're not going to move the needle on your body composition. And I like to talk about body composition and not weight because a lot of people get hung up on the scale and just pounds. And if you're looking for that, there's going to be a lot of discouragement, especially early on when you just don't see the needle moving, when you're making the right decisions for your long-term health. So I'm looking at longevity here. I'm looking for something that's sustainable. This is not something where you're going to go and be put on a diet and you lose weight for 30, 90 days, whatever it is, and then you put it all right back on as soon as you are away from that program or the environment that you were in. So through the Primal Health Coaching program that we offer at my gym, it's teaching you how you can affect all of this and sustain this over a long haul. So it's not a short-term thing. Number 5 is grains are totally unnecessary. Grains have, they've been touted as sort of this miracle food. They have all this energy, they have all these minerals, they have all these nutrients. But the bottom line is that the majority of the population just does not tolerate grains well. Some people are okay with it. So this isn't a blanket statement to say everybody should just not eat grains altogether. Grains are going to include wheat, soy, rice, corn. Those are the major grains. And if you think about it, it's present in almost everything that you eat. So basically, if you have to pick up something with a label, it's probably got something like that in there. So that's cereal, pasta, bread, all the stuff that people use as staples in their diet. And so one of the biggest problems with it is they're so highly refined because you can't just take a stalk of grain and just chew on that. Your body can't digest it. So what happens is we have to break down these things into components that are actually palatable and manageable for our bodies. The problem is that a lot of those plants have a lot of anti-nutrients. They have a lot of things that cause inflammation in the body. And they're also treated just like sugar. So if you guys are familiar with the glycemic index, which is basically how fast something is going to raise your blood sugar, you look at things like bread, pasta, and cereal, and you compare them to glucose. Glucose is kind of your 100 on that scale. A lot of them are right there with it. Some of them are even over it. So they're going to raise your blood sugar faster than straight up sugar will. So that's a big problem with grains. All right, so I talked about that, saturated fat and cholesterol. So especially now, the American Heart Association just recently kind of was throwing stones at saturated fat again. But there's just so much research to show saturated fat is actually not your enemy. Cholesterol also not your enemy. Cholesterol in your diet is going to move the needle on your body cholesterol so little. And this is actually another reason that I wanted to leave pharmacy, is because we have stuff, a lot of cholesterol medications like statins, and there are a lot of sequestering agents for cholesterol that will bind cholesterol in your digestive tract, take it out of your body. And it's also similar with any diabetic medication. The bottom line with diabetic medications is they're trying to remove excess sugar from your system. The problem is that you're putting it there in the first place. So not putting the sugar in your diet, and also that's going to affect your cholesterol more than anything will, trying to move it with reducing your cholesterol intake or taking a statin, taking a cholesterol binding medication, whatever it is. Ultimately, a lot of the stuff that we have as far as true heart disease risk factors are from oxidation and inflammation from excess insulin, bad oils, and high stress living. So bad oils are going to be like the polyunsaturated fatty acids, trans fatty acids, stuff that is easily oxidized and causes free radicals to form in the body and circulate and damage your DNA. So I talked about number 7. Number 8, maximum fitness gains can be made in minimal time with high intensity training. So basically that means you want to get off the hamster wheel of chronic cardio. So like I was talking about, a lot of people go into the gym and they're like, well, I need to burn off this donut that I ate, or I've got this huge dinner that's coming up and I want to make sure that I make this caloric deficit. And so exercise is good. There are a lot of benefits to exercise. I'm going to talk a little bit about more later. But if you overdo it, that's actually a stress to your body. You're secreting excess cortisol. You're breaking yourself down. You're not allowing your body to actually repair itself. All right, so that is the foundation of what I'm going to be talking about. So we're going to go into the 10 primal blueprint laws. So here's a real quick rundown of it. We have to, number 1 is eat lots of plants and animals. Number 2 is avoid poisonous things. Number 3, move frequently at a comfortable pace. Number 4 is sprint once in a while. Number 5 is get adequate sleep. Number 6, play. 7 is lift heavy things. 8, get adequate sunlight. Number 9 is avoid stupid mistakes. And number 10 is use your brain. All right, so let's get it started with these. So number 1 is eat lots of plants and animals. So this is going to be probably the second greatest thing that you can do for your health. All right? So focusing on quality sources of protein, such as all forms of meat, fowl, and fish, having lots of colorful vegetables, some select fruits, mostly berries, healthy fats, nuts, avocados, coconuts, olive oil. Observe portion control, week to week, more than on a plate-by-plate basis. All right, so you don't want to be obsessing on calories and how many calories am I eating right now, stuff like that. It's really over the long term because you're not going to be able to schedule all your meals and historically speaking, man has not been able to do that anyway. You know, there's times of feast, there's times of famine. So your body is designed to deal with that. So eliminating grains, sugars, and trans and hydrogenated fats from your diet is also going to go a long way to help you reduce inflammation and keep your body healthy. All right, so number 2 is avoid poisonous things. So this guy's eating cereal and he's spitting it out. So like I was talking about, cereal is actually treated, no matter what cereal it is. It could be, you know, kashi, it could be cornflakes, whatever it is, your body's going to treat it as a sugar. So it's something that is going to be quickly absorbed, putting your body into fat storage mode, and this is why a lot of people crash like halfway through their day. All of a sudden you don't have energy, you're like, why am I so tired at 11 o'clock in the morning? A lot of it is because of that. So we want to avoid exposure to chemical toxins in your food, such as pesticides, herbicides, and chemicals, and on your skin, so you want to make sure you're not applying poisons to your skin. Also try to avoid the hidden poisons like sugars, grains, processed foods, trans, hydrogenated fats, and mercury in certain fish. So just to quickly touch on the fish, the higher up the food chain, the higher the accumulation of toxins is going to be. So small fish, anchovies, sardines, stuff like that, those are going to be the best bang for your buck, fish with the lowest amount of toxicity. Just to go back real quick on the eat lots of plants and animals, this is not to say that you cannot live well on a vegetarian or vegan diet. It's just that you need to really make sure that you are looking at your micronutrient profile, which is going to be like your minerals, your vitamins, your coenzymes, stuff like that. So a lot of people think that the paleo diet is like the meat-eating diet. Paleo diet just tells you kind of what you should include, not the proportions that you need to have them in. All right, so number 3, move frequently at a comfortable pace. So you want to do some form of low-level aerobic activity 2 to 5 hours a week, be it walking, hiking, easy bike riding, or swimming. Low-level activity is necessary, especially if you are confined to a desk for long periods of time. And ideally, when possible, find time to go barefoot or wear as little foot support as possible. So as Americans, we have a lot of different things going on with our shoes, which actually combat the natural neuronal muscular development of your foot. So going barefoot every once in a while is a good thing, so that you can reestablish the balance of your muscles and stuff like that in your feet. A lot of people that have foot problems, it's because of the shoes that they are wearing. So going barefoot is actually a good idea for them, for whenever they can. The other thing is, I don't know if anybody's heard of grounding, but if you just have contact with grass, the beach, something like that, it actually helps you get exposure to negative ions from the earth, which actually helps out a lot with your health also. So yeah, the combined effect will be an increase in capillary perfusion and fat burning and an overall integration of muscle strength and flexibility. You cannot underestimate the benefits that you can get from just going on a walk. All right, so you have so much going on, just keeping yourself upright and just moving. All right, there's a lot of neuromuscular stuff that's going on that you're not getting if you're sitting down, or if you're like, let's say you're, I don't know if any of you guys have seen at the gym the sort of like recumbent bike where you're just moving your legs, but you're basically like in a recliner. That's not going to be as good for you as just going for like a half-hour walk. It doesn't matter how fast you go. It doesn't have to be intense. You're going to get awesome benefits from that. All right, so number 4 is sprint once in a while. So do some form of intense anaerobic sprint bursts once every 7 to 10 days. That's a general guideline. You don't have to have sprints as part of your workout, you know, every day. Some people like to do that kind of stuff, which is fine, but you have to make sure that you are actually getting your recovery. So as a CrossFit gym owner, I have people that want to come in and they just want to do their best every single time that they're in there. They're hyper competitive. They want to be sprinting. They want to be beating the guy that's next to them. Or if you're me, when I started doing CrossFit, I was getting beat by mothers that were, you know, 10 years older than I was. And I was like, what the hell is going on? So it's a gut check. But it is about finding balance. If you overdo it, you're going to, again, have that overabundance of cortisol in your system. You're going to be negating your human growth hormone response and also testosterone preservation because of that, which is beneficial to both women and men for maintaining lean body mass. All right, so number 5. This is actually number 1. The first thing that you need to make sure that you're taking care of is your sleep. This is your body's reset. This is your body's time to sort of deal with all the stressors that you've had throughout the day. So if you're not getting enough sleep, specifically not getting enough deep sleep cycle time, your body's not able to reset the hormonal balance. Again, decreased testosterone, increased cortisol, and there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. So after the sun goes down, it's often difficult to get enough sleep, yet sleep is one of the most important factors in maintaining good health, vibrant energy, and strong immune system. So one of the biggest challenges that we have right now in our society is just being plugged in. A lot of people like to wind down watching television. They're on their phone, they're on their tablet, whatever it is. There's a lot of blue light emission, which actually messes with your body's melatonin cycle. So if you're sitting down and watch TV until you fall asleep or pass out, or you notice that you're just tired and just can't fall asleep, a lot of that will have to do with that screen time because of this blue light emission. Several ways you can combat that. Number one, just get away from it. There are also blue light filtering glasses. There are programs now that help to reduce blue light emission from your screen. I don't think it's really available for televisions, but on a computer, a tablet, a phone, whatever, those are available also. Just winding down, making sure that you're not stressing out about the day and not having this racing mind as you're getting into bed. So several things you can do, like sit down and read. Candlelight would be awesome, or just low-level light. Just something that helps you get your mind out of whatever's going on in the rest of your life and helping you to relax and actually get that sleep. The other thing is you have to have a good sleep environment. So you need complete darkness. There's actually evidence that shows from studies that you can shine a light on the back of your knee and it can disrupt your sleep cycle. So it's not just our eyes or photoreceptors that help to regulate our sleep cycle. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. So that's number one. Number 6 is play. So spend some time each week involved in active play. In addition to allowing you to apply your fitness to real-life situation, play helps dissipate some of the negative effects of chronic stress hormones you've been accumulating through the week. So one of the things that I like to focus on when people come into my gym is I try to make that hour the best hour of their day. We say as coaches that our responsibilities are to educate, entertain, and inspire. So, you know, you come into the gym, you might have had a rough day, stuff is going down the toilet, you got all this other stuff that you need to be doing, but you come in here and you focus on the task at hand, and it's like a reset for you. You know, think about you're going for a 1-rep max, just as an example. Everything else has to be out of your mind in order to focus on this one lift. So that complete focus helps you to get all this other stuff out of your head and recenter. Doesn't necessarily need to be that. Not a lot of people think that that's play. But let's say that you're playing soccer. I know Eric loves to play soccer. We got a lot of soccer people that come in through our gym because of the Soccer Strength Academy program. So that is something that is going to help you to reset, get the stresses of daily life out of your head, and just have a positive outlet for that. And it's also beneficial for your health, as long as you're not overdoing it. You can't, you know, go and play 90 minutes every single day and expect to not break down. All right, so number 7, lift heavy things. So I was just talking about that 1-rep max. So you want to go to the gym and lift weights for 30 to 45 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week. Focus on movements that involve the entire body and in wider ranges of motion, not just on isolating body parts. Emulate the movements of our ancestors, such as jumping, squatting, lunging, pushing, pulling, twisting, etc. These actions will encourage your genes to increase muscular strength and power. They're going to improve bone density, enhance insulin sensitivity, and stimulate growth hormone secretion and consume stored body fat. So this is where the benefits of exercise come in. It's not just going in there and burning calories. It's actually the metabolic response that you elicit from those activities. And when we were talking about how you do it in short, intense spurts, the higher the intensity with shorter duration, the better response you're going to get from your workouts. So it's kind of contrary to, I have a lot of people that come into my gym and they might feel like, you know what, that workout was really short. It's like, yeah, but you were huffing and puffing down on the floor a few minutes ago, right? And that's where you're going to get your benefit. And you kind of have to step away from, like everybody likes like a good sort of spin class or like a cardio kickboxing class, where all you're doing is going in and just putting out energy for like 45 minutes to an hour. That can actually be counterproductive if you overdo it, like I said. So short, intense bouts are going to be your best bang for your buck for your health. All right, so number 8 is get adequate sunlight. The primary reason to get adequate sunlight is so that your body can manufacture vitamin D. I think the statistic is something like 80-something% of Americans are deficient in vitamin D. The primary reason for that is just going to be from not enough sun exposure. So think about how much time most people actually get outside. If you have an office job, your exposure to the sun might just be on your commute to work. If you're like me, when I was working for Walgreens, I would be driving to work, the sun would just be coming up, and I'd be coming home when the sun was already gone. So my sun exposure was almost nothing sometimes. That's going to be the primary reason to get that sunlight. The other one is there's a lot of research to show that not vitamin D, but the sun actually has a lot to do with your mood. And if you're not getting enough sunlight, you may experience sort of like seasonal adjustment disorder, mood affective disorders, stuff like that. So kind of like minor forms of depression. And if it's long enough, it could actually be depression. One of the things you can do to combat this is actually supplementing vitamin D. Vitamin D cannot be supplemented through diet alone, though. There's no food that can give you adequate vitamin D if you are not getting enough sunlight exposure. So you will actually have to supplement vitamin D itself. The other thing is there's a lot of vitamin D supplements that just do not have enough vitamin D. So you might be supplementing 400 international units a day. Unless you're a child, that's not enough for you. So the current recommendation, not by the FDA, by the Vitamin D Council, is for adults to get about 5,000 international units daily. And that's if you're not getting enough sun. If you're getting enough sun, like a good indicator of enough sun is if you have a slight tan. All right, if you're doing more than that, if you're crisping yourself, that's too much sun exposure. So there's a flip side to that. But vitamin D is one of the most important things in cholesterol metabolism, in testosterone metabolism, in a lot of different hormone pathways. And there's just more and more evidence coming out saying how important vitamin D is. So that is the one thing that I urge everyone to supplement. Every single person that I talk to, vitamin D is going to be what you want to supplement if it's not summer and we're getting enough sun exposure. During the winter, you know what Chicago winters are like, definitely should be supplementing vitamin D. Vitamin D3, by the way, D2 is not as well absorbed and utilized by the body. The majority of the stuff you grab over the counter is vitamin D3. All right, number 9, avoid stupid mistakes. So we want to eliminate self-destructive behaviors. A lot of them are self-evident to most people, so you know when you're doing something dumb. Sort of like, all right, I have this presentation I'm doing tomorrow morning. I'm going to stay up late and watch TV. Bad idea. All right, stuff like that. I know that I shouldn't be smoking. I know that I shouldn't be having 10 cups of coffee. I know that I shouldn't put 5 sugar packets in my coffee. Stuff like that. That's real simple stuff that over time is going to accumulate and cause issues for you in the long term. So you got examples here: wear seatbelts, don't smoke, do drugs, don't dive into shallow water. So just be aware of what you are doing. And number 10 is use your brain. So your brain, it's not a muscle, but it is something, especially more recently, we're seeing a lot of research that talks about neuroplasticity, and there is a lot of stuff that is showing that even as adults, we have a lot more neuroplasticity than we thought previously. There's not a lot of turnover in neurons, so it's so slow that a lot of people just didn't see it. But like I said, like even within the past year, a lot of research coming out showing that we can affect our brains as adults even. So you want to exercise your brain daily, be inventive, creative, and aware. If your work is not stimulating, or even if it is, find time to read, write, play an instrument, interact socially. So that social interaction, you know, having a healthy debate, or just talking about something that you have shared interest in. It's going to be something that gets the mental juices flowing, and it's going to keep you young. It's also been shown over time that over your lifetime, if you do not stimulate your brain, it atrophies. So, you know, you put yourself at risk for stuff like Alzheimer's. So you want to make sure that you are using your brain, doing something that stimulates your brain on a regular basis. All right, so those are the 10 Primal Blueprint laws. So we have 5 action items. What can you do to apply these laws to your life? Number 1, eliminate sad foods. So sad is the standard American diet. So think about stuff like McDonald's. Stop stopping at McDonald's for breakfast. Stop going to Taco Bell for breakfast. Why does Taco Bell even have breakfast? All right. Stop going there for dinner. You know, those are simple things that you can do. Number 2 is going to be shop, cook, and dine primally. So that means focus on those things that we were talking about: getting your vegetables, getting your fruits, getting your meat products, high-quality meat products. and keeping them stocked at home. If you have that stuff at your home, you're going to be less likely to go and do these things like I was just talking about, like stop in at McDonald's for breakfast because you didn't have something to eat at home. Or if you don't have the stuff in your home, like, all right, I'm not keeping 5 frozen pizzas in my freezer, you're not going to eat them. You're going to have stuff that is more readily available to you to make the right decision. So number 3 is make the healthiest choices across the spectrum. So what that means is it's not going to be perfect, but you learn what the proper things to do are, and you do them when you can. Or you exercise the ones that you like the most. And if you do it about 80% of the time, you're going to be a lot better off than the majority of the population, which is kind of just like, oh, well, yeah, I know I shouldn't be doing this, and whatever. Number 4, exercise primally, move, lift, and sprint. So I was talking about the compound movements, you know, so something like a squat, jump squats, lunges, just going for a short sprint, whatever. That's something that's full body. It's going to do a lot more for you than if you're sitting on a leg press machine and not using your core to stabilize yourself, and you're just isolating small muscle groups. So make sure that you use your body the way it's intended to move. And if you don't have a lot of experience with exercise, the benefits of a coach to teach you how to use your body are tremendous. It's going to help you to learn how to get the most out of your training and also to do it safely. There was a long time where I did not have a trainer, and I hurt myself plenty of times trying to move big weight because that's what guys do. You think that, you know, going harder is better, lifting heavier is better, and you do it wrong, you hurt yourself. So that's put me out for months at a time, actually. So be smart about that stuff. Number 5 is slow down life. So, you know, I was talking about the stressors, and you kind of have to take a moment, step back, reframe your stressors, and think about, is it really that bad? You know, like, for example, when I used to drive to work to Walgreens, the most recent location that I worked at was in Little Village in the city, so I had to commute to the city. Going through rush hour traffic was a tremendous stressor on me because I was just like, this is so ridiculous. Why do I even do this? But taking a moment to reflect on that, I'm like, all right, I know that I have to, there's no way around this. Rush hour is going to be there. I can't do anything about it unless I move or sleep at work, something ridiculous. So just coming to terms with, all right, I cannot affect rush hour. How can I change myself to actually take advantage of that? So I started listening to podcasts, started listening to audiobooks, and actually made it a really enjoyable part of my day, unless, you know, somebody cut me off, stuff like that. But you make the best of the situation, all right? So yeah, slowing life down. So that's my presentation. So thank you all for being my captive audience. And if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to entertain with some answers.
So would you recommend heavier weight, less reps then?
That's very specific to what you want to get out of your workouts. But generally speaking, if you are, let's say you're not a gym rat, you're not in there, you know, 6 days a week, lifting as heavy as you can with good form, so as long as your technique does not break down, is going to get you your best bang for your buck. So yes, I would say lift as intensely as possible while maintaining good technique.
So you didn't list barley, but no, I'm just wondering, what do you drink?
What do I drink?
Coffee, water.
That's an excellent question. So a lot of people have questions about specifically alcohol, but as far as liquids, so I generally recommend that you avoid liquid calories, mostly because most liquid calories that you're going to reach for are going to be almost all sugar. So what do I drink? I like carbonated water. I like club soda. My wife hates it. I understand that that's not everybody's, you know, cup of tea. By the way, tea is fine. So I like carbonated water. I'll do that with like some lemon or lime squeezed in. You get your electrolytes. You get a lot of vitamins out of that. It's really good for balancing your stomach acidity. So water's always going to be good. Carbonated water with nothing added to it or something like that. You can even do like fruit slices. So if you like to have a little bit of flavor to your water, you want to slice up something and throw it in there, like melon or even cucumber or stuff like that. Whatever you like, a sort of fruit-infused water, fine. Tea, coffee, also fine. The problem with coffee is when you overdo it or you throw a lot of stuff into it. So, you know, not everybody likes black coffee. That is definitely an acquired taste. I actually forced myself to drink it for a long time, and I actually really enjoy it now. So I can drink black coffee. I'm fine with that. If you are not a fan of black coffee, you can also do it with like heavy whipping cream. Heavy whipping cream is actually a really great fat for you. It has a lot of benefits of satiety, so you're not feeling hungry. So like, let's say you don't have time to go and sit down and have a meal, but you have some coffee handy and you can pour some heavy cream into it. Cool. If anybody's heard of bulletproof coffee, you can do that also. Also, a lot of healthy fats in there. That's basically butter, coconut oil, or MCT oil, which is just kind of refined coconut oil, made into an emulsion in coffee. Tastes a lot better than it sounds. It sounds gross, but it actually tastes very creamy. So there's that. And so those are the primary things that I will drink.
Where do you fall on sodas, sugar versus diet?
All right, so hands down, fructose is the worst thing that you can put in your body. All right, so a lot of people, and it's because of specifically the way that it's metabolized in the body. It basically shorts the metabolic pathway that it needs to actually be used for energy and encourages your body to store it as fat. So I would say, you know, it's kind of like it's a spectrum of bad, but if you can get a real sugar soft drink, that's going to be your best option out of all those. Anything that has high fructose corn syrup, and this includes agave nectar. A lot of people don't know that agave nectar, it's not naturally occurring, all right? So that's a processed thing that is extracted from agave, actually has more fructose in it than corn syrup. So if you thought that agave nectar was something healthy, which my wife did, and I dropped this bomb on her, she was like, the hell? Yeah, stay away from agave nectar, stay away from high fructose corn syrup products. If you can get like a Coke with real sugar, that's your least worst of kind of option if we're talking about soft drinks. Artificial sweeteners, they have a lot of inherent issues because of the biggest thing that I think that they mess up in your body is your gut microbiome. All right, so I don't know how many people have seen recently, but there's a lot more research that's coming out and showing how much of our health is affected by our gut biome. So if you're somebody who has a lot of diet soda, whether it be NutraSweet or Splenda, both of those have the issue of, because they are a non-caloric sort of sugar substitute, they will starve your gut biome. And then that allows for opportunistic imbalances. So you kill off the good gut flora, all of a sudden you have this bad gut flora, and the worst part about that is you are impeding your ability to actually digest the foods that are healthiest for you. So let's say that you have an awesome meal, but you're having a diet soda with it, or you've been having diet soda in your diet for some time, because it takes a little bit of time to restore your gut flora if you've messed it up. You might have all these awesome nutrients in your food in front of you, but because of that diet soda, you're impeding your body's ability to actually use all the nutrients in that. So that is the biggest insult to your body that I feel it comes from the artificial sweeteners. The other thing is long-term studies, kind of questionable. Can it cause a cancer risk? Is it a carcinogen? There are different schools of thought on that. I would say just don't do it. But again, we have this spectrum. I want people to know what their options are. And if you feel like having a Coke every once in a while, you can make up for it with the majority, 90% of the time. Just be good. Stuff like that.
How many
Peter,
people
what
here
about the
exercise
veggies?
regularly? Go ahead.
What about the veggies that get a bad rap because of like the high glycemic index, like potatoes and sweet potatoes?
Okay. Yeah. So sweet potatoes and potatoes actually very different as far as how your body processes them. Sweet potatoes, you can have all the sweet potatoes you like as long as you're not dumping a bunch of sugar on them. They're a lot starchier and a lot slower to burn than potatoes. So potatoes are kind of a gray area. Potatoes are a high glycemic index carbohydrate, so they do raise your blood sugar fairly quickly. But it's a little bit different from if you're having, like a grain product. All right, so along with the potato, if you're eating a potato, it's a complete protein. And so you can use that as a protein source, especially if you are vegetarian or vegan. That's going to be one of your better options as far as a carbohydrate that is not going to be totally crazy with your blood sugar, because the thing is, because it has that protein, it's going to blunt that sugar response a little bit. Also, the fiber in it is going to be beneficial. So where I stand on stuff like like potatoes, and rice actually. Rice is probably the least offensive grain to your body. Not many people have a lot of issues where rice is going to cause inflammation and mess up your gut permeability and cause all these other inflammatory issues. But those two, it's kind of like if you're doing the exercise, and specifically if you are a performance athlete, it is fine to have those as regular staples in your diet, as long as you have that caloric expenditure, so that you're not putting on excess body fat. So yeah, not the worst thing in the world, but I would say moderation, but definitely use it if you are a performance athlete. Sure.
Quick question. How many people here exercise regularly? Raise your hand. How many of you think you're doing it right? Well, I'll tell you, well, I mean, doing it the right way, I've never really had a coach before. I've been in sports my whole life. I started doing this in January, night and day. And the stuff that I've learned from like Ted Dreisinger, who's a PhD in biomechanics and physiology, he's been saying things to me for years about doing certain exercises, like it's called the Tabata, like the one on the bike. It's hell for 4 minutes though. And the benefits, at the end of my workouts I do something called Metcon, which is metabolic conditioning. It's not long, it might be 10 minutes, but huge dividends.
Just a comment on the running. I am not opposed to running, but I'm kind of a running snob. So like I'll be driving, you see all kinds of people running, and I'll just be like shaking my head at mechanics. And running can be very beneficial if you do it correctly. If you like running distance, cool. Just make sure that your mechanics are good. If you like to just run for fun, I'm completely fine with that. If you like to run for competition, I have athletes that run marathons. I have athletes that do like a Spartan race, stuff like that, where there is a lot of running. It's just being really smart about your training and making sure that you are not overdoing it. So you have to recognize that your body is going to need the rest and recuperation. You can't go out and bang 10, 15 miles at a time on a daily basis and expect that your body's going to be able to deal with that. So it's just making sure that you're getting what you want out of the activity, but also that you're not doing damage to your physiology. And there's a fine line. And I understand, people that want to run marathons. I understand, the sort of the mental makeup that it takes to conquer that challenge. I just am not a fan of that kind of training because I am interested in longevity, long-term health, and it is something that does break your body down over time. And you can do it, as an event. If you want to run a marathon once in your life, maybe a few times in your life, cool. I just want you to have the knowledge of what it is doing to you over the long haul. So yeah, I'm completely fine with whatever activity people like. CrossFit isn't for everybody. I generally recommend pick an activity that you like and do that, because then you're going to stick with it. If you're dragging your ass into CrossFit and you're just dreading the Metcon, you're like, I know that I'm going to be sucking wind 5 minutes in, and I have to last till the 20th minute. You're not going to continue to do that. But if you like yoga, if you like, I don't know, Orange Theory, whatever it is, pick your activity, whatever you're going to stick with, do that.
Yeah, the point of my comment was these guys have taught me a lot just in 8 months. So if you can find a good coach, it's worth it to do it.
All right. If there are no more questions, I thank you all for your time.